Hello and welcome back to Mercury Minded Tarot. If you're new here, my name's Chelsea and I like to do things like pick a cards and other tarot and astrology related content. Today I wanted to do something, I don't know if it's a little bit different or not, but I got a request on my Tumblr, which I will have linked below, and they just wanted a more friendship centered reading because there's a lot of romantic readings available here on YouTube, but I haven't personally seen a whole lot of ones that are centered primarily on platonic relationships. So that's what I wanted to do today. And in a moment, I'll have the groups laid out for you to select which one you want. I did want to point out that it is totally up to you. If you have more than one relationship you're interested in, go ahead and pick as many groups as you'd like, or just pick one and kind of see which relationship it's referencing. However you want to handle this reading, that's on you. I'm just here to read the cards, so let's do that. Okay everyone, here we have our 4 groups. We have group 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you already know the drill by now, you can pause the video, pick which group is speaking to you, and I will see you there. If you are new to pick a cards though, I would just like to suggest taking a moment, meditating on these cards, meditating to kind of determine which group is calling out to you and using your intuition to pick. I know some people can use their eyes and have no problems, but for others it is really helpful to try to get in tune with your intuition, listen to what your gut is trying to tell you, and figure out which of these groups has the message that you need to hear. Now, if you want to pick more than one because more than one is calling to you, by all means, feel free to do so. It may very well be that each of those groups has something that can be applicable to you. So once you have your group figured out, I'll have the timestamps listed down in the description box below, and I will see you there. Group 1, you beautiful angels, I have your cards right here. Let's lay them out and see what the energy is between you and a friend. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about here are our 2 tarot cards we have, which are the Lovers and the 6 of Cups. Now there's a couple things that are just really cool seeing these together. It just so happens that the Lovers is kind of like the elevated form of the 6 of Cups, right? Because 6 and the Lovers is card number 6. There's also the really interesting synchronicity we have between Gemini and the Lovers, because Gemini rules over this card. Another thing I'm seeing, gosh, the way these go together every time is just so cool. Neptune and Pisces are side by side here, and astrologically we know that Pisces is ruled by Neptune when you look at modern rulers. And even Mercury and Gemini, we have these signs with their rulers. So that's really interesting to me. Now, going back to our tarot cards, there's a couple things I want to address here because there's a couple ways to interpret this. And because this is such a large general reading, I think it's important to give out kind of multiple interpretations so that you're sure to hear the one that applies to you and your situation. The first thing that comes to me is I look at the 6 of Cups as a card that is referring to our past. Now this can be your past as in your childhood, and it can also be past as in past lives, you know? So this friendship you have with this person, you've known them for a long time when I see this. And it can be long time as in you grew up together, or it can be a long time as, you know, as soon as you met them, you just felt so comfortable and like you instantly had that connection. And that's because you have spent past lives together. The other thing I like with the 6 of Cups and the Lovers together is that this tells me that this is such a fun, playful, kind of light-hearted relationship. You feel comfortable with this person, you feel at home, and you feel like you can be yourself. And that, I feel, plays really well with the Gemini energy too, which can be lighthearted, fun, playful, and generally just, you know, filled with good times and laughter. Now, as to another interpretation looking at the 6 of Cups and the Lovers can sometimes indicate a choice. And when it's Paired with the Six of Cups, this can be a choice that involves you seeing someone for who they really are. And what reinforces that interpretation for me is the presence of Neptune in Pisces. There's that element of illusion. I don't want to say, like deceit or that they're lying to you, but they're definitely not who they always appear to be. And with the Lovers, you can choose to stay in that connection, really cherishing and appreciating the past experience you have together, the history that you have with this friend, or you can choose to release and move on if it's a relationship that's not fulfilling either of you anymore. If it's heavy, if it's weighing you down, and if you do feel like this person is lying to you or deceiving you, maybe it is time to move on. But the Lovers tells you that you have this choice to make. And our oracle cards down here at the bottom, this one says take time to breathe out and you're very close to achieving your goal. This is like, you're in a tricky period with this friend, and it's like you need to take a moment and figure out what you need to do to heal yourself and to heal your relationship if that's the choice you want to make. And the oracle cards down here give me that kind of same impression. You can release this connection, or you can choose to nourish it and help it grow and help it become repaired, but that's going to be on you and your circumstance. I think that choice is going to change for each individual watching this. For some of you, sorry, this is coming through. For some of you, it's like maybe you're tempted by a different relationship. Maybe you've struck a friendship with a different person who's kind of the opposite of this person, and you want to pursue a deeper connection with them. So in order to do that, you may have to release some of your bonds with this person from your past. But I really want to emphasize remembering your history, remembering where you come from with this person, because I do see a lot of happiness. There's the illusion there for sure, but in this spread, I'm not getting a whole lot of conflict or negativity or toxicity from this person. To me, it almost seems if you have issues or fights or any kind of conflict with this person, that it's going to be centered around miscommunications. And I say that because we have Mercury in Gemini, but also because of the just clear abundance of blue all over this spread, which is associated with our throat chakras and speaking and communicating. So if you do have disagreements with this person, I feel like they're not intentionally malicious. They may be a little misguided sometimes, or not very clear with their speaking with Neptune and Pisces energy. They may not be able to articulate everything that they mean in the best way, or maybe you're like that, but there definitely is some sort of communication issue between the two of you, and that's where a lot of your disagreements and any conflicts you have are going to arise from that. But I do want to say that even if you have these fights or arguments or uncertainties, there's a lot of love between the two of you. Again, I don't see any bad intentions or malintent or trying to be sneaky. It's just that mutability you have with Pisces and Gemini that can come up. They may seem to change or go back and forth. With these cards, it can seem like they're flaky or they're wishy-washy, but that's not them being mean or a bad friend to you. It's all out. There's a lot of love. It's just maybe them or you don't always necessarily know who you are, know where you stand. They're working on a lot of things internally as well. I do want to say, for those of you that, think that making the choice is the message that's applying to you, there's going to be a lot of indecision, because I see on this card right here the word indecision. So if you're the one really thinking about whether or not it's time to let this friendship go, I see you going back and forth over this decision a lot. I don't think it's going to be easy for you to let them go, because you do have this either past life connection or this long history with this person that makes them hard to release. It makes it hard to get them out of your head. And I do want to say, if you choose to stay with this friend, if you choose to maintain a relationship with them, it can grow. We have nourishment here. If you feed it, as funny as that sounds, if you feed it, if you take care of it, this relationship can grow and continue to be good. It's just working through your communication issues. This just feels like a powerful bond between the two of you, group one. I don't want to make the choice for you, but I feel like this person was brought into your life for a reason. With the Lovers, Six of Cups, and Neptune, there's like a little bit more going on here than just being a friend. Like, this is someone who connects with you and you understand each other on a more soulful level. There may just be, you know, with the lack of earth and fire that I see in this spread, it is all water and air. With the lack of fire and earth, it's just sometimes it can be a lack of grounding, of practicality in this relationship. You get swept up and washed up with each other, and it's a very mental and emotional connection. Intellectually and on a deeper emotional level, you guys bond and understand one another. There is that, I keep seeing, you know, this interesting duality. With the Lovers, there's two. Pisces, there's two fish. Gemini, there's two people. With that kind of duality, I don't want to say it's bringing together opposites, but the Lovers can quite literally mean that, you know, finding harmony between two polarities. So you may not be very similar. There may not be a whole lot of similarities between the two of you. You may actually be quite different in several areas or ways, but when the two of you are together, there's a feeling of home and there's a feeling of being whole. This relationship is very interesting, very deep, and I actually like it quite a lot. It's very, very interesting how far back your connection with this person goes. And I'd hate to see it crumble because of miscommunications. So that's definitely something the two of you need to work on, is how you talk to one another, how you convey your feelings, your thoughts, just being more open and honest. No lies, no games, just be upfront with one another. That's what I think can really help take this relationship, not to the next level, but take this relationship someplace where it can heal, where it can grow and continue to be a positive influence on both of you. So that's what I see for this friendship, group one. It's a super interesting bond. I feel like the two of you are super blessed and fortunate to have each other in your lives. You know, your souls are being brought together for a reason, and I hope that this reading connected with you, offered you a little insight, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on the next group. Group two, you beautiful bunch of souls. I have your cards here, and we're gonna find out what the energy is between you and a friend. Okay, so the very first thing I want to point out here is just the overwhelming amount of fire in this relationship. I mean, we literally have fire, Sagittarius, and two Leo cards. How weird and cool is that? So I don't know if you're both fire signs, if you have a lot of fire, if they have a lot of fire, but there's a lot of fire in this connection between the two of you, which is pretty cool to see here in these cards. Now, what I want to address first is with our tarot cards up here, we have two pentacles. So we have 10 of pentacles and literally 2 of pentacles. This to me talks about there's a good give and take between the two of you. There's a good exchange of energy when we have two. We have a good back and forth. Now, the 10 of Pentacles, maybe, you know, it's funny with Pentacles in relationship readings because typically they're associated with money and the material. So maybe this is like a coworker, someone you met at work, or you just work well together. But in a relationship reading, the 10 of Pentacles, I feel as though you give each other a sense of security, a sense of stability, and you just feel kind of like at home with one another. Now, the other thing that I want to point out, because it spoke to me right away, was seeing the void down here, which is kind of like darkness, okay? I mean, it's a pretty dark card. It's feeling alone, it's feeling like you're at the bottom, but there's so much brightness in this spread that the real message I get from that is that you two are like the light in each other's lives. So whenever one of you is feeling here, you have all of this brightness, all of this light, okay? They help pull you out of that, and you do the same for them. You're both very motivating, inspiring, and encouraging energies for one another. And I can say that because Leo, for sure, having 2 Leo cards, I mean, we must have a lot of Leo energy going on here. It's like you inspire one another to be confident. You know, if you're like working together, whether it's a school project or a work project, you feel more confident and comfortable when you're working together. You're good as a team. Sagittarius tells me that when the two of you are together, you may have like these aspirations and dreams of travel, like you want to plan trips together. You want to even go to school together. If you're that age, you know, you may be looking at the same colleges or you wanted to go to the same schools with one another. I also just sense like you're not afraid to try new things and get out of your comfort zones. You push each other, okay? You're like, you feel able to do things that may otherwise be intimidating or a little bit scary. When you're with them, you feel like you can do it anyway, okay? It's very empowering. The key words I want to point out here on the Venus cards are cherish and enjoy. Like, truly, just what that says. You have good times with one another. You enjoy each other's company. Now, this 10th house card really correlates what I was saying earlier in regards to the 10 of Pentacles, whether you may work together or this is a coworker, because the 10th house is about your career, finding success. There's this feeling of responsibility, and it's also very public. It's a very public house. And so I feel like the two of you are rather popular, or at least well known. Others know of your relationship. It's like your affection and your relationship is very public and it's well known to others. I don't know, maybe you guys post on social media a lot when you're together. It's just a very public relationship. I'm looking to the fruition card down here. You know, it kind of correlates again with everything I was saying about feeling able to accomplish anything, having the courage to get out of your comfort zone and make things happen for yourselves. You know, you may talk to them about your dreams, your aspirations, and then you encourage each other to chase after those. It's like you guys have each other's backs 100%. This feels like a very ride or die type of relationship. And with all of this fire, your feelings for each other are very, very strong. Like you have this loyalty and this faithfulness towards one another. Yeah, ride or die is what keeps coming to my mind here. You have good times together. You want to achieve things together. The only thing I would point out in this relationship as something to look out for is that when you have two big personalities, which is how you both feel to me, very energetic, I want to say loud, as in like you're loud, but your energy is just loud, both of yours. There may be some ego clashes, okay? Especially the message here on the Leo full moon card is don't let your pride get in the way. And with fire, if you do have fights, I would imagine they can blow up pretty quickly. But the beautiful thing here is that they seem to subside almost just as fast. So it's like if you have arguments or conflicts with this person, it's like they get really, really heated and then they fizzle out. I don't see this friendship as one where you guys hold grudges or are mad at each other for a long time. It may just be two big personalities clashing, you know, one that wants to take charge and be the leader, but the other wants that too. But honestly, together, you're both wonderful leaders. You're both, I've said it before, just a really good team. You work well together. It's like this dynamic, unstoppable duo, because the Two of Pentacles is all about having that good exchange of energy. You don't want to walk all over each other, okay? If you do have fights, it's not because you intentionally want to step all over them or you intentionally want to use them. It's just both of you are very opinionated, strong energies, and there can be some clashes because of that, but I don't see them as permanent or like harmful in the long run. This seems like a really fun, for sure, you know, with fire, it's a lot of fun, there's a lot of playfulness, and there's also a lot of intensity. So the last thing I'd like to point out here, obviously there's a lot of yellows and a lot of oranges, and there's some red too, but those are all kind of referring, I don't know how to say this, not the lower chakra points, but you know, the root chakra is associated with red, the sacral with yellow, the sacral with orange, and the solar plexus with yellow. And those three together are kind of referring to your willpower, your creativity, your sense of ambition, and these are all themes that I've noted, okay, with this relationship. It is very inspiring, encouraging, empowering between the two of you. I don't see you sitting still a whole lot either. When you're together, you want to go out and do things. Of course, with every relationship, there may be moments where you want to just sit and binge watch a show together, but for the most part, this is like a high energy spread, wanting to go out and about, wanting to be seen. So I see you partaking in activities together that are outside of the house. This is not a sit still kind of relationship. This is going out, being adventurous, and being seen. Okay. That's what I get for you, group 2. What a fun, powerful relationship. I wish nothing but the best for you and your friend. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the next group. Hey, group 3, I have your cards here. Let's go ahead and find out what the energy is between you and a friend. All right, group 3, what do we have going on here? So, I mean, the first thing I see right away is just the abundance of blue and purple. We have lots of blues, lots of purples. These are more associated with your throat and your third eye, possibly your crown chakras. So we're talking about the upper energy points in the body. Definitely an interesting spiritual connection. When I look at the 12th house and Saturn together, it's like so we even have Pisces, which rules over the 12th house. There could be some karmic bonds here where you're in a relationship with this friend to teach each other something. Yeah, there's some powerful lessons going on here, especially in regards to your emotions and your feelings. It's almost like they're teaching you or you're teaching them to not be so reactive. And I say that because there's definitely unfortunately some conflict in this relationship. And I say that because we have the Tower and the Queen of Pentacles together. So the Tower is all about big dramatic changes. And it's almost like, how do I say this? This may be your friend who's the Queen of Wands, okay? And so maybe you first saw them or they passed themselves off as someone who's humble, who's practical, grounded, very compassionate and understanding, very warm. But what happens when we pair that energy with the Tower, it's like that's not who this person is. And the 12th house, unfortunately, is all about things that are more hidden or that deal with our subconscious, and it's also the house of hidden enemies. Not saying that this friend is your enemy, but there's definitely a side to them that you are not familiar with and that is going to become revealed to you, because the Tower is saying that this facade, this type of person that they pass themselves off as, that mask is falling off, that mask is coming down. Now, even with Pisces and the moon, it's like, it's the same thing. You know, Pisces ruled by Neptune. It's associated with illusions, with deception, with deceit. And I know this is an oracle card, but the moon in tarot is associated with those very same things. The subconscious, illusions, lies, not really understanding what's actually in front of you. So this friend has definitely got some things that they're keeping concealed, and I worry just a little bit. Down here at the bottom, we have another water card, you know, Pisces and Scorpio. This is saying work through your fears, and next to it we have a time for healing. So there really is some conflict here between the two of you right now, and you're going to need to assess, okay, because here we have the assessing card. You're going to need to assess just what kind of role you want this person to have in your life. How much power do they have over you? And you may be scared to lose this person. You know, you work through your fears. You may be scared to let them go or to even see them for who they are. It's like you don't want to believe that they're not who you thought they were. Because Saturn tells us that there are lessons to be learned here, but it's also like limitations that you put on yourself, restrictions that you put on yourself, learning how to free yourself from those. And the message right here on the top literally says, be realistic and be concerned, okay? I got chills. Okay, I'm sorry. That literally says, be realistic, be concerned. Okay, you need to reassess who this person is, what kind of relationship this is, who they are, and who they really are. And there's definitely some healing that needs to take place, probably on both sides. I don't know if you two fight often, or maybe you haven't fought at all and this is like a total curveball, something from left field you weren't even considering. But I feel like once this tower comes crumbling down, both of you are going to need to take a time out and just maybe even separate from one another. But it's going to be hard because there is that emotional attachment. You are strongly connected to this person, but it almost reminds me, I know Venus isn't here at all, but it almost reminds me of this aspect, Venus square Neptune, where you set someone up on a pedestal, where you see them for how you want to see them, but not for who they really are. It's like you don't want to shatter the illusion. You may be content with them and with how things are, but it's like you're not seeing them clearly. And with the full moon here on this card and the full moon here on the moon card, it tells me that things are about to be brought to a head, that this tower situation, this big cataclysmic change and the drama that follows, it's going to be reaching a climax soon, and then you're going to be getting a fresh start, okay, with the new moon that represents a new chapter, a new cycle, and starting over. And during that starting over, you know, it's going to be working through what the hell just happened and then taking the time to yourself to heal and recover from it. The other thing I want to point out from this spread, with the 12th house, Pisces, Moon, even Scorpio, all of these cards together are telling me that this is someone you need to trust your intuition about. If something feels off in this relationship, if something doesn't feel right, I need you to trust your gut. All of these cards are implying that something is not what it seems. And deep down, I think you know this. I think you are aware that something is off, but you are not listening to your intuition, and that's something I need you to start doing. Man, I hate giving readings like this, but it really is all about assessing who this person really is, seeing who they really are, and making sure that you take care of yourself in the process. I know you have that emotional tie to this person. I know that you feel strongly connected and bonded to them, but this friend has another side to them that I don't know if you're aware of just yet. But you will be. With the full moons in the tower, I mean, it's going to be made just abundantly clear to you sooner rather than later. Oh, I really hate giving readings like this. I don't even want to. I wish I could not include this group, but it needs to be said. I always want to be honest with you guys in my general pick card readings, in my paid readings, every reading I do, I want to be honest with you. I want to tell you what I'm picking up and what I'm seeing, and there's just a lot of issues surrounding this friendship. That's not to say it can't be worked past. If you can work through it, if you can heal and recover, kind of acknowledge the lesson that Saturn has been trying to teach you, bring those secrets to the surface, you may very well be able to maintain a friendship with this person, but it's just going to take some time, some introspection, and a lot of honesty. Okay, that's what I'm getting here, group 3. I wish you the best, okay, in your relationships and your friendships. I hope that the two of you are able to work it out, lay everything on the table, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with the next group. And as always, last but never least is you, group 4. I have your cards here. Let's figure out what the energy is between you and a friend. Okay, group 4, what have we got going on here? So the first thing I guess I'd like to point out, just cool synchronicities that I love seeing, is that we have Venus and Libra here. Libra is ruled by Venus. And just further astrologically speaking, we have 2 Pentacles cards which are associated with earth signs, and Mars is in fact exalted in an earth sign, Capricorn. So cool correspondences there that I like to see. Let's start first with our 2 tarot cards. We have the 6 of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. And what I want to point out from these, sorry, I'm just going to set them right there. With the 6 of Pentacles, there's a lot of generosity and giving. So it's almost like this friendship is where you like to buy each other things or take care of each other, because the ace, we literally see the hand that's giving, and it's with money. So there's some sort of monetary exchange happening, whether that's in the form of gifts, of food, literally helping each other out financially. There is some sort of monetary connection in this friendship. Now, the 6 of Pentacles means that there's generosity in this relationship, but it can also, how do I say this? It can also be a bit uneven or unequal, and that's what I would like to advise here, because although I'm sure for some of you it is a fair exchange in this relationship, I don't know if anyone is familiar with the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, but in the 6 of Pentacles, in that imagery, there's literally a person that's participating in charity and giving to others, which creates this imbalance as someone is elevated above someone else. So that is the imbalance that I'd like to warn against. And I have to point it out because there's the scales here in Libra. So maintaining balance in whatever this monetary exchange is that's between the two of you is very, very important. The other thing that correlates with balance and even with opposites, right, is that we have Venus and Mars next to each other. So this to me is again opposites. We have Venus, which is traditionally a very feminine, artistic, creative energy, and Mars, which is the more masculine, assertive, more competitive vibe. So you two may be taking on those archetypes, honestly. One of you may be a little more Venus-like, while the other is a bit more Mars. I would just like to point out that with the presence of Pluto in this spread, there is, I don't want to say a risk, but there is a possibility of power struggles, or with someone or both of you being very almost obsessed with the other, because on the Pluto card there is the word obsession. So you two are very wrapped up and very, very closely connected and bonded with one another. When I see the first house, it may even be that one of you or both of you aren't quite sure how to be alone or on your own, because the first house is all about your sense of self, doing things on your own, how you project yourself, how you carry yourself. It's all about who you are. And so when I see the first house in this mix of opposites, this coming together of opposites, it's almost like you may start to take on each other's traits, maybe even lose a bit of yourselves in the relationship. And that is a very common stereotype with Libra energy. Okay, Libras are always accused of losing their own identity, of taking on their partner's traits and characteristics, and that's not always the case, but it is a very typical Libra stereotype. And on top of that, with the Sagittarius card, Sagittarius is a mutable sign, which is also known for being adaptable and receptive. So there really is maybe even like a blurring of boundaries in between the two of you. You don't have very good boundaries set up in this friendship. It's like you want to be so close to one another. You are so invested in this friendship that you would do anything for them. That's really what this reads as. You would do anything for this person, and hopefully they would do anything for you as well. This energy is just very committed, very invested, almost like you're obsessed with one another. So what I want to point out down here with self-love is this card really reads to me as learning how to be separate from this person, learning how to be on your own without this person, and taking care of yourself, re-establishing or establishing in the first place some sort of boundaries, getting more comfortable and confident in who you are without this friend. And wisdom in Pluto tells me that there's definitely something to be learned from this friendship, and I believe that this is it. You know, this is the wisdom, okay? The wisdom that can be learned from this relationship is how to be on your own. You know you have this friend that has your back and you love each other and you want to take care of each other, but you also need to learn how to love and take care of yourself. So with Pluto, it goes along with that because this is all about inner transformations. So eventually I do see both of you, I don't want to say changing, but there is the message of metamorphosis that comes from that card. Now, if you feel that this exchange between the two of you, whether it's emotional, monetary, whatever, if you feel that it is equal and balanced, then the only thing I can say is to maintain that. That's a really good thing. Keep the scales even, don't let them tip. But my advice is still the same. Learning how to be on your own, learning how to be your own person. Just spending some time away from this friend every now and then could be helpful, because what I don't want to see happen is any issues arising from them feeling like they have control over you, that they can boss you around. I would hate to see that in this friendship. But if you can maintain the balance, if you can maintain this harmony between the two polarities, right? The two opposites, this can be a very, it sounds funny to call it an educational relationship, but it can be eye-opening, I guess. Teaching you about who you are, them learning who they are, and really developing and becoming your own people outside of this friendship, this relationship that you have with one another. Because even the message on this full moon and Sagittarius card is to look at the bigger picture, okay? Sometimes you two may get so wrapped up in yourselves and in your own world that you don't see much else. You're very, very consumed with one another. And it's great to have someone like that where you know you can depend on them and they have your back and you're very close with one another, but you need to be able to explore relationships and friendships with other people and with yourself as well. What else do I see from this? I do think it's interesting. I see one of you being more of the creative artistic type, present with Venus, with Libra, even with wisdom. I don't want to say bookwormy, okay? And the other one, when I see Sagittarius, when I see Mars, when I see Pluto, the other one of you may be more adventurous, more outgoing, more active in the sense of like wanting to get out of the house and go do something, go explore, go have an adventure. And together I do think you're able to compromise and find a happy medium between both of those archetypes. So the last message, I just got this looking here at the Ace of Pentacles. Make sure this hand that is giving without expectation. I'm sorry, that literally, it just came into my head right now. This hand should be giving without expectation, without a thought of receiving something in return. This hand, this friendship should be giving and generous because of the love you two share for each other, for the connection you two have, and not for any other reason. So that is what I have for you, group 4. It's a very interesting dynamic between the two of you. I like it quite a lot. I just hope that you two are able to maintain this balance, maintain this harmony, and keep the equal exchange of give and take between the two of you. With that being said, I wish you both nothing but the best, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys. Hello, and welcome back to Mercury. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, stupid.